Okay, welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. Steve, I'm here with Barint. Hey, Barint.
I am here. I am here. Steve, we had a little snafu yesterday. I did not make, or last week I did not make it on. I apologize, but I'm here. I'm
No,
here to talk cutesy games.
no worries.
And
Yes.
we
Well,
could almost make this. We could almost dub this one the "Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover" video.
yes, exactly. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, this is one that I know Snow, who's here with us this morning or her afternoons to say. Welcome, Snow. That we talked about on the Discord server quite a bit on how sometimes these themes can influence us in different ways. So we'll talk about it today. But first, you're here with us. This is our kind of wild and crazy. Well, not crazy, not that crazy, but our live chat talk about cooperative games. And so we'll cover news and then have a discussion topic, which is like we said, cute stuff, cute art games. Okay, let's dive into some of the new stuff. So the first game, I'm listing
That
it
was my die.
as you die. Nice. Oh man. Um, yeah, the first game I'm listing it on this, or including the list, as to say, I am not confirmed if this is fully co-op or not. It, when I read the description, it sounds very much cooperative. Everything you read sounds cooperative. It is listed as semi-cooperative on Board Game Geek, but I would go to the as you see here the Kickstarter page. It says it's a cooperative board game. So I don't really know what to make of this one. I'm going to assume it is cooperative. I don't have a ton of information on it, but we'll talk about it anyway. And that's Borderlands. So yes, Snow
Borderlands.
mentioned it too. Semi-competitive. Oh, it's semi-competitive on BGG. Oh, my bad. But okay, so maybe you should be covering this one. Well, we'll find
Wait,
out. I don't know.
is this one called Borderlands?
Yeah, it's Arena of Borderlands Mystic Torque Arena of Badassery.
The word arena
So
might throw you a flag there.
true if it's battling each other.
Yeah,
That's true.
who knows?
And
Who
this
knows?
is one of those things that's frustrating. I know we've talked about this a lot on the server. Like when people use the words cooperative and semi-cooperative, especially semi-cooperative, it gets a lot of things. But like I've heard cooperative as being like a hidden trader game, right? And for a lot of us on the One Stop Co-op Shop, and not everyone on the server, but generally the One Stop Co-op Shop crew, when we say cooperative, we mean everyone's has a shared goal to win the game. Like a trader game, yes, there are people cooperating, but there's also different people at the table can win the game. So, so yeah, maybe this one is semi-competitive, and maybe the cooperative thing and the what I read. Because here's what I read: there's one-off scenarios, and there's you can link scenarios together to level up and battle a big boss, right? And you can get visit vending machines for gear. You have unique skill trees. You get all the guns like you normally have that. So that part of the game, that description I read, sounds very much like a cooperative game. But maybe I don't know. I don't know, Baron. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is a hey, we're going to play in this arena, and I can shoot and take you out. But there's also a boss we can take out. I don't know. We'll see.
That'd be kind of tough.
It would be tough. So anyway, that's Borderlands. Possibly a co-op game. Maybe I screwed up this week. Possibly not. We don't know. So, so anyway, let's move on to
But you got
something I
another one.
know.
And the other
Yeah,
one I know you know is a cooperative.
this one absolutely is cooperative. This one is looks amazing and awesome. So, and this is totally up your alley, Barrett. I think.
I know. I'm super jealous I don't have any access to this game.
This is a Harakiri Blades of Honor. So this one is launching November 30th. This is fully cooperative. This one is also four players maximum. You are playing a multi-campaign co-op adventure game. So, and the cool thing about this one is you've got this world map. You move around. As you move around the world map, you actually set up smaller tactical battles or things to go into, which is really fun as you zoom into the environment. You are playing in kind of a Japan with the samurai age, and the Dark Shogun has taken over, and you're trying to band together to stop him as he advances and takes over the world. You got personal missions, travel events. Like you can choose to take a safe road, which takes a little longer time, or take a shorter time to go take a shortcut. Maybe it's more dangerous because you go through some woods and you get attacked by enemies, for example. You have to decide between if you do heavy items or quick and light items. Uh, More powerful skills you do will be harder to use again, and it's a big old branching story. So this one is going to be a huge game, big game.
And I'll be insta-backing this one when it comes out.
I know, because you play what's that? Shadows of Brimstone, but you like the different theme one, right? What's the one you play?
Yes, the one set in the kind of the samurai era.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
enjoyed that one. That was a feudal Japan, I think they call it. I am a huge fan of that genre when it comes. I mean, I just didn't have anything. So when that one came out, I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. Now another one in that genre, I think will be fantastic. I am a huge fan of that. It's just if when I look into dungeon crawlers, I know we talked about this before, or like campaign games or something, there has to be something that I don't have in one of these other ones over here, or why would I spend that much money on it? So
yeah.
I'm interested in looking into this one, seeing what they have that I don't have in a game. The theme already, I know I have Shadows of Brimstone, but having another one in that theme might be really cool. And I have a feeling it's not going to play anything like Shadows of Brimstone.
No, this looks very different. So then I got cracked up at Snow's comment here. Yeah, we're here talking about cute art, and this is grim art, which is so true. So this is like the
That
opposite
is
spectrum. Very much Oni demons and monsters in this one. In fact, I saw one in the miniatures. It was like I don't know who it was, but like it looked like a small person riding a giant demon head, so like flying through the air. So yes, this is very much grim art for sure. um, And yes, this does have dice. It has dice, and you have to. That's what Snow mentioned. It also has, I think it has like yin and yang symbols, so you have to match things up or something. I'm not really sure exactly how it's
oh,
gonna work.
that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, it looks fun. So this one I've been very interested in for a while. So that's going to launch this week. It tons of info yet, but yeah, I think it reached
Somebody here
out,
in
but
the somebody on the channel actually introduced me. He was like, hey, "Have you heard of this game?" I'm like, "Actually, I haven't." So I started looking into it, and yeah, I would really like to get my hands on this game. I was hoping for a review copy, but I really never reached out to him. I probably should have, but you know how sometimes I mean there's sadly this is not my only thing going on in life, so a lot of the times I really don't have a chance to like do anything outside. Hence the reason I don't have like a Facebook account that I really keep track of, or Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, because I mean anything I do on the channel is just kind of extra fun time I have, so I don't really put a lot of more effort than I probably should to keep it running. If I really wanted to like reach out to these publishers and get stuff like this, I probably could do that, but I didn't. I don't have the time and effort to do that. I just hit the back button and then wait for it to show up my doorstep and I do something with it.
nice. There is, I mean, talk about content creation stuff. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. It's just never ending. So it helps having all six of us working together and doing
Yeah.
different aspects and helping each other out because yeah, it's just too much to keep track of. So cool. Okay, so those are the upcoming crowdfunding games this week that were well, one's cooperative for sure. The other one I might screw it up. We'll find out. So, okay, I want to talk about one of the games because now we actually have news on it. Oops, I just got rid of your video. My bad. Let's talk about Zombicide Marvel. Talk about this one real quick. So we actually know some stuff now. So Simon did a big old live stream on it. So I'll try to summarize it briefly here for everyone. This
I
is
can
going.
I can actually summarize this one. Awesome.
Did you watch the stream?
Awesome. Just looking at the fact, is that Galactus on the cover there as a
Yes.
zombie?
Yes.
Insta back. Don't you have to tell anything else.
That's all you
Done.
need to know.
Done. I don't know any Zombicide games, and I probably would have never bought one, but that I'm buying, no doubt about it.
Well, let me tell you about this, Barint. See if you're
Please
interested in
do.
this one. So, you are playing as zombies in this game. You're playing zombie heroes. So this is based upon the comics. If you remember the comics, where the heroes were infected and they were conscious of what was going on, but they weren't able to control their actions based upon their zombie hunger, for example. So there's a whole like interesting moral quandary to get into that one. Yes, Snow mentions like I can summarize this too. Pass. This is not a snow game at all for sure. um, But yeah, so what you're doing in the game, you're playing as the infected heroes, and you have twofold. You must save your own hunger while completing objectives. It has the Zombicide base theme in it, but it is a different game. They changed it to fit the theme better, which is great because I was really worried about just like reskinning Zombicide and not really changing enough to make it fit Marvel Zombies, and it sounds like they did change it to fit Marvel Zombies, which is great because like here's one of the things that's different. Every round, your hunger is going to increase. As your hunger increases, you'll eventually gain new powers as it goes up. This is very similar in regards to like Death May Die, Cthulhu Death May Die, where as your hunger gets up higher and higher, if it gets too high, you kind of lose yourself to the hunger, and your hunger drive takes over. You lose your higher processing functions, right? And so same thing with like Death May Die, which I mentioned that one because in that game you get more insane, which is cool. You get more powers, but you don't get too insane, right? So at some point in Marvel Zombicide, your hunger goes up. You need to eat. You need to feed. And so by feeding, of course, being a zombie, you eat bystanders. So yeah. So this is the main aspect of the game. You'll be eating bystanders and trying to complete objectives. Also, eating certain bystanders will gain you new powers. Like if Pepper Potts is on the table, maybe you go take a nibble and you get some Iron Man related power. I'm not sure exactly. Some thematic tie into her. Now, because you're playing the zombies, what are you fighting against? In this game, you're fighting against Shield. So Shield's gonna be running around and you're battling them. Also, instead of if you're familiar with Zombicide, they have something called abominations in that game where it's these giant hulking zombies. In this one, they're not gonna have that. Instead, you're gonna have regular heroes, uninfected. So you'll be fighting as zombies against Shield, and maybe just Spider-Man pops out or Thor pops out, and they're gonna have their own unique powers that would be thematic to them. In addition to that, each you don't have as much focus on the loot because in the regular Zombicide you got a lot of loot, and it doesn't make sense for like, uh, you know, Spider-Man to pick up a crowbar and run around crowbar machine gun, right? For example, it doesn't make that he's not his character. So it is very much focused on unique powers. So each character has their unique powers that's written on the card because the powers are so unique you can't really share between characters much. And I believe, not positive, but I believe there will be expansion where you can flip the roles. So you could play as the uninfected heroes as well. And I think that's true because we did see a Galactus miniature with a zombie face, which is on the screen right now, and another one with a regular face. So I think there's a way to switch that out. So, but anyway, a lot coming out in the future in that one. It is coming. It is the next Kickstarter by Simon, and it's coming out sometime next year.
We don't like this guy.
Yeah, like that guy. Exactly. Is that the
one of my two Galactuses I have? It's one of the two. Yes. Sweet. This is from a different expansion called. It was another. Was it like Giants? I think it was the expansion. It was like it was one of the later ones. But Sweet. I have the other one in the other room. But yes, awesome. I have multiple Galactuses. I'm a huge Galactus fan. He's one of my favorites.
Me too.
So
I have a Galactus cool. sitting over there too. So yes.
But yes, this one sounds really cool, Steve. I'm definitely going to take a look at this one. I think that's really, I like the idea of these zombies having powers like they would. I just hope you don't have to run into somebody like Magneto or Scarlet Witch or something, because that could really do a number on you.
Exactly. Cool. Okay, that's everything. Let's get into the chat real quick.
Sure.
So what are we chatting about today? Talking about cute art in games. So what does this mean? Some of the recent examples, like I think Marvel United is one of them, and Keep the Heroes Out another one that jumped out. But basically, some of these games have really whimsical, light, fun art, and sometimes when looking at games, that will affect our perceptions on what we think the game is. And I think this really stems down to the core, like we all do, just because there's so many games coming out at all times. Like every week we talk about games here, and we almost never have a week that is we don't talk about some new game that was announced. So it's really hard to keep up with all this content coming at us all the time. And so I think we all have our internal filters to like, oh, this game has dice, not interested in that one. Oh, this one has tons of interest, not interested in. This one has cute art, oh, not interested in, right? We all have those filters that do it. And one thing I want to talk about a little bit is the cute. What I found is sometimes with these games with cute art, it doesn't feel very kid-like. Like it feels very challenging for an adult to play. Let me put it that way, right?
That's very true, Steve. And there's a wide, and one of the things that actually helps me not axe this genre immediately is I have kids, so
Yeah.
I do actually look at these cutesy games and kind of go, oh, would this be something my kid would enjoy? And for example, Marvel United, which is right back here, that has a chibi's kind of, but I mean, I know Cool Mini or Not has kind of gone that route for almost all their games. Not all, I can't say that, but like they did was it Arcadia Quest and things like this, more the really kind of chibi type miniatures, which then of course look cutesy. But both those games I think have enough in them that really I have played Marvel United with my son, but the Arcadia Quest I've only played with adults. I have not
Hmm?
played that with anybody else. Another game would be like Adventure Tactics, where those miniatures and the concept of it looks very kid-like. But there's a lot going on in that game. You have to decide, and if I just sat down with my son to play it, I would have to help him decide kind of what he should do, how he should go about, what does he want to be in the end, because you really have to have that foresight into what you're planning to do in that game.
Yeah, Snow
Um,
mentioned her favorite is Cerebria. It's definitely not for kids and has cutesy theme as well, so that's a good one. Yep.
that is a good one, but there's a lot of them out there. I mean, there's what I've got stuff Fables down here.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. Oh, the one that I worked on, Eily and Something Shiny,
Mm-hmm.
for Ice Make Games. That actually I think is delivering pretty soon. That game was super different than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I even got plush figures coming for that game, and I actually played it with my son to see what he thinks, and he really liked it. But then if you flip the card over and go on the hard mode, or maybe you could call it the impossible mode, because
Yeah.
that is super challenging. You have to, it's almost like you have to like know how to get this thing done. Like you really got to structure everything to get it right, instead of just randomly it's like, oh, let's just pull another card, see what happens. I mean, you have to know. So I like it that they made the game, that one I especially, they like how they made it that kids can really enjoy it, because they
Yes.
give you a lot of you can make kind of a lot of different errors and still usually make it through. Where it also is challenging, where if I wanted to play it with my wife or something later that night, we could have an equally fun experience, be challenged at this game and still learn the story that's going on inside that game. There's not too many that do that, where they actually have it where it could be kids but then also be challenged. I guess Marvel United can, because you can take out those wild cards. When I play with my son, I keep the wilds in. Not when I play it by myself or with adults, those go out.
I Yeah, my experience just echoes your own. Like I played Eyelash Something Shiny, and I know we were previewing about the same time, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually really enjoyed that game. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was. I was playing with my son too, because same thing as you. I've got kids, and I don't shy away from these cutesy arts. But yeah, when you mentioned, oh yeah, flip that card over, play the other side. I'm like, oh, it can't be that hard. I'll try it. I tried it. Like, what? How are you supposed to win this game? So yeah, Snow mentioned. Yeah, I sadly was afraid to back Eyelid because they present it as aimed for kids, which is true. It's definitely like,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the other side, it is very much aimed for kids. Like the rules are super light. Like I don't think you even have to teach anything to sit down and play the game. Just set it up and like we'll start playing and people will catch on. Like it's really easy to pick up on. But like you said, Barrett, like it's deceptively challenging on that one side, which I think is the for me, like it's something that I think I really like seeing in games. Something that can be like a QTR that could be welcoming to kids, and you can just difficultly, like you said, Marvel Unite. I do the same with my son. Like when we play the game, I normally throw the wilds in. When I play with my wife, she complains because I pull the wilds out, so to make the game harder. Um, but yeah, there are we lose we lose most of the time in Marvel United. It's rare when we win a game in that one. I would say. Well, I should say it depends on stuff. I would say some characters are easier to beat than others, but generally, that is a very challenging game, and it's hard for us to win. Yes, hey Dan, welcome. Did I miss the 10-minute segment dedicated to Harakiri? Yes, we did. We did talk about that one. So it
Yep.
is.
And we talked about how I wish I had it in my hands right now, and I don't.
Yes.
Sadness. I do like your idea of being able to take. I never thought about taking the wilds out of my hand and leaving my kids. That's something I didn't think about for Marvel United.
Yeah, that was something that someone mentioned on one of our streams, and
Mm.
it was an interesting idea. Like, could you have like someone like adults we play with only the single wild, while the kids play with a double wild in place of the single wild, so they have a little bit of a boost of what they can do. And there's really no reason why you can't have the decks have different number of cards in there. Just
Mm-hmm.
means that the whoever runs out of cards depending on the turn order, would the game would end a little bit differently then as well.
Yeah.
Snow mentioned, as someone who doesn't have kids, for me, cutesy art is something relaxing to play. I'm getting tired of the adult and dark themes, which I completely agree with you, Snow. Like,
Hmm.
I have nothing against the dark themes. Like, it's
Nope.
fine. I have fun with them too. But like sometimes I'm just I want a lighthearted themed game, right? I just want to have to sit down and have fun. I don't want to worry about this moral dilemma introduced in the game, right? Do I save the kid or do I save the town? Like, which do I do, right? So
Yeah, I don't have any dark themed games, so I totally no. Actually, I think all of mine are. It was kind of funny. I know I said this before, but I was watching like Rolling Solo's 15 like horror games. I'm like, I've got 14 of those. It's like, really? And a lot of them stem from the fact that like Colin and I, our themes are a little bit. I shouldn't. We both enjoy games equally, but a lot of times some of the theme changes, like whether he's going to enjoy the game or not. He's not much of a fan of like the like more adult and horror-y type stuff and gruesome kind of thing. So a lot of those games fall on me. Or if it's a game that, like for example, actually another one I just played was Transformers, the card game. That's another one that could be labeled as like a cutesy game because it's all got that Gen 1 like nostalgia one for me, where
hmm
the Transformers are all, but it is a co-op game and it says 14 or up on it. And even I looked at it, 14 or up. Come on, you could play this open handed and like everybody could sit around and play this game together. I could have my 9-year-old play this game. It's just a kind of very basic deck builder with this cool moving system around on the board. And like I use my kid's transformer. My kids would love to throw the transformers onto a game board and start running around doing stuff. I mean, so a lot of it, I think that's one of the things that when you look at a box and it says 14 up, you really have to think about, is it 14 up? I mean, a lot of it has to do with reading level is more than
Correct.
that's the only thing that's on that
Correct.
number means, really. It's not a maturity, it's not an art, it's not anything like that. A lot of that is like reading level. So if you can play cooperatively and open hand everything, a lot of that drops considerably because you can explain things. And I know I've talked with you when playing with your son and stuff, he'll recognize kind of what the cards are just by the pictures on them.
Yep.
And so if they can get to that point, you could pretty much kind of put any game on the table with these kids, and a lot of them are gonna. And I don't know why I got talking about kids and stuff. I guess because it's cutesy art. But to get back to the topic, because I've never ever have I strayed from a topic, and I see that we're having lots of comments coming in, but not to stray from the topic too far. But the cutesy games do help when it help had to get kids into this game. All right,
Yeah.
what does comments say, Steve?
Yeah. I want to add the quick comment before I jump to the comments on our thread here, but the 14 and up thing also has other ramifications because if I remember correctly, you don't need to prove or hit another guideline target to say it's good for like nine or up or something like that. Like 14 up, you basically can produce most games without worrying about hitting certain criteria. So it's easier to do a 14 up game than a younger game. Is what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah.
But Snow mentioned the lighthearted and challenging at the same time. It's gold, which I completely agree. I love it when I run into those games. I want to. We've been talking about Marvel Unite. I think definitely does that. That game can be super challenging. In fact, there's some bosses that I feel like are just so incredibly difficult to win. I think I won maybe once on some of them. Some of them I don't even think I beat yet. Keep the Heroes Out, which is on screen as well in the background there, was also pretty challenging. If depending on what type of steps you do in that one, there's some chaining of events that you have to be very aware that it can happen, so you can prep for it and really work and avoid that situation. Um, and then yeah, so Dan mentioned I think most of my games have light art. That being said, I have no issues with dark themes. I just might not be okay to play some nights if I'm on the mood for it. Yeah, which I have to be mood for sure. Which the other thing I've noticed is I think Marvel Unite is the exception, but generally the lighter theme games don't get a lot of attention. Like we look at like Awakening Realms, which they've done a few darker themed, right?
All of
Massive
them.
campaigns, yeah, all of them, right? Massive campaigns, like tons of eyeballs on it. People are really excited for it. But you come up with a lighter themed game generally, and generally it doesn't get as much traction, right?
Mm-hmm. That's very true. A lot of times the theme of the game is something that people look at and go, "Oh yeah, that's gonna be my kind of game." And when you come with the lighthearted games, they're not going to be in that same dark theme. I mean, I can't think of too many. I guess, believe it or not, Stuffed Fables could almost be one that you could think of. Kind of has a darker kids theme. It's that
Yeah.
some of those monsters are, or some of the miniatures are like something out of nightmares, quote unquote. So it's like,
Right, right.
when I think I played that game, I think when Ridley was 6 or 7. And even Rob and I were kind of like, okay, we're drawing dice, rolling dice. And he'd be like, what is that, Dad? I'm like, something from your neighbor. That looks pretty scary. I'm like, I never thought about that. And even some of the art, even though it's got like the stuffed bears and things like that. Yeah, well, then of course your character, the stuffed bear, is holding a knife. I mean, it kind of looks scary in itself, and that's a hero. I mean, so sometimes even though they look kid games, that the theme itself could even be more adult than you're expecting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and Snow mentioned a good comment here. Says, you see the comments, is this for kids? And oftentimes I feel like that's based on looks, which I agree. I see that comment a lot with certain games. Like, oh, yeah, is this just a kid's game? Is this just a kid's game with the cutesy art? Which, it makes it hard because there are games with obviously cutesy arts that are made for kids. And there's other ones that, are made for, I'd say they use the word family, like in that sense that, yes, you can play with kids, but you can also play with adults as well. I don't know. I'm having trouble to think of an example. If there's a game with cutesy art that's only for adults, I can't think of one off the top of my head. And maybe that's a differentiating factor. Maybe there aren't any games like that, and so it makes it easier to, if we have those filters, because there's so many games to look at, right? That it's easy to filter that stuff out. But oh, Snow mentioned maybe half of my euros, which could be, that's true. Euros can have a, yeah, Cerebra, Honeybuzz. That's fair. That's good. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's kind of a lot of my
So
genre. I'm not a big Euro person. Not saying I don't play them. And if they were put on the table and people asked, hey, would you like to try this? I would definitely try them. I love playing games, so anything. But I don't have
yeah.
too many in my collection. I mean, I've got like Robinson Crusoe, which is technically is a Euro-y.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a few of them. I know I've got Scythe in here, buried somewhere, but it's in there. Know it. I have it. Got it cheap, so I picked it up because I was like, I've heard lots of good things about this game. Someday I might play it.
Someday I play it.
Yep, someday.
I'm. I think I think the same way with you. Like, I just like playing games, and I actually really enjoy Euros as well. My only issue with Euros is it's rare to find a cooperative one. There's very few cooperative Euros. I feel like
Yeah.
most of the time they're more hybrids, which totally fine. I love hybrids too and everything. But that's the main thing, and I don't really know why it's that way. It's always open for a cooperative Euro. So, but yes, that is, yeah. Robinson Crusoe is one of those I would consider a Euro. That's fantastic. I love that game. Another one that's got some worker placement in it. That's cooperative is U Boat. But that one has so much else going in it. I don't know if that's exactly a Euro. So just
Oh,
got
now
worker
we're on the
placement in it.
subject. I forgot that if you're looking at art for like kids heavy game, Myth is great for that. Myth has some really great
Oh yeah,
artwork. No,
that's right.
I
That's
have to admit
right.
it's not scary art, but it's just like all of a sudden like, oh, he's talking about U-boat. That means I got to talk about Myth for a couple seconds so that we appease the masses. Will to mention,
Exactly.
always to mention them.
Take your shots, everyone.
But
You mentioned
the kid art in games does definitely influence people when it comes to what they're going to look at some of the time, and things can
yeah,
be easily
definitely.
passed by, and a lot of times you don't know something's good until you really can. Once the community gets their hands on it, I think the hardest part is during Kickstarters because you're not sure if you're going to want to back it because of that. But like for example, Marvel United, I did not back that because I
Mhm.
was not really into the artwork. I didn't think the gameplay was there. I didn't think there was going to be a lot there. Of course, I was totally proven wrong on that one. I'm usually wrong about once a year. That was my one time to be wrong. My wife may argue that. She may say I'm wrong a little bit more than once a year, but I was wrong on that one. And I think a lot of that turned me off was the not complexity of the game and the
Yeah,
artwork. And
yeah,
once it started getting into people's hands, then I realized, oh, this is good. And I think you're seeing that in some other games too. If you look at originally, you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. Maybe my kid might, but then once it starts coming out and people start talking about it, you're like, oh, this is actually really cool. They've got some neat mechanics that I wouldn't have expected. And then all of a sudden, you maybe missed the boat on it, or maybe you didn't because the boat's parked in a harbor somewhere and it can't dock yet, which might give me
Too soon,
issues
Barint.
right
Too
now.
soon.
Too soon. Oh no, I can't too soon. Oh, I mean, no, I ruined everybody's life. Oh, I'm the worst person ever. But but I mean, I think that has something to play in it too. I think a lot of the hard parts about it is whether or not you want to back something with that kind of art.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dan. Checking on your comment here. Tricked you into playing Marvel United because I played it for every Monday for 2 months. Yeah, that game is one of my top games of all time. Like something about Marvel United. It's I was with you. I was with you as well, Barent. Like I honestly bought the game because I'm like, this would be good to play with my kid and son, right? And
Hmm.
I'll play it. I know CMON games sell pretty well after the fact, so worst case scenario, I can recoup my costs. And he was able to play. He's right age. He enjoyed it. I love Marvel themed. And then we started playing the expansion stuff. I'm like, wow, this is actually really good. Like this is actually super challenging. And then it kind of took off from there. But
Nice, nice.
yeah. Yeah. Snow mentioned I used to glaze over a lot of these games with just, oh, it will be too simple because it's probably a kid's game. Yes,
Yeah.
that's I did the same thing. Oh, this kid's game. It'd be too simple. But like we said earlier, like Isla is like one of the simplest games ever. You flip a card, make a choice, you put it into the past or the future, right? And
Mhm.
you keep going through this deck, right? And you gain research. There's other stuff to do, of course, but like that's like the core of that game. It's super basic and simple, but man, it's challenging and it's gonna be really fun.
I'm really excited for that one. That one will hit my channel for sure. And I might even play it a lot more than just the one mission because of course, problem is it is a story game. So once
Yeah,
you play it, um, I know there's actually multiple ways to finish missions once you get past the first one. But I think once you kind of see how the story is evolving, even no matter if you go a different path, you'll still most likely end in the same way. It doesn't. I don't think it's going to have multiple endings. Maybe it does. I haven't played it yet. Kind of like role player when I've been playing the role player adventure right over here. I know that in theory it's probably going to have the ending's going to be very similar. You're going to go through all the missions. It's not going to be like, oh, you're going to skip mission 6 and 7 now and go straight to 8 because you did these two things. No, you're going to go through all the missions. You're going to go through the entire story. What happens in the story, of course, is based on your choices, which is. But I think it's still near the end. I think you're only going to get a limited amount of how the story ends. And a lot of times you want the best ending, so you're usually going down that path to begin with anyway. It's really hard. I mean, unless you're trying to, is to kind of go down the wrong path. Does that make sense? I mean, when it comes to games like that.
yeah,
So,
makes sense.
well, I mean, we'll see how Eiley shapes up, but I think I want to put a lot of that on my channel because I'm really excited for that game.
Yeah, Dan, it was an expensive gamble for sure. That one is tough. It's tough because I don't think they were doing a TTS mod either. Like I love how publishers are creating tabletop simulator mods so that if everyone can try, that just helps everyone understand the games and what to back. So, someone mentioned back then I needed complex rules, but then I figured that simple rules does not equal simple game, which is very true. In fact, I think it's probably the ultimate goal, right? The ultimate goal is to have a game with simple rules and have a complex interactions. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
that's
think
the
that's
ultimate goal.
very that is the ultimate goal. You don't want to get bogged down. I've played my fair share of dungeon crawlers that have a rule book that's like 80 pages thick, and you're like, I just got done playing like another dungeon crawler that had a 20-page rulebook. Really, you need 80 pages to tell me how to play this game? That might be a little bit too complicated for just moving around and killing enemies
Right,
and gaining them.
right.
But to some people, that's what they want. They want that super deep. I mean, and the good news is a lot of these, like for example, Adventure Tactics, that game keeps it pretty simple. A lot of the moving and attacking and everything, and what you're doing in your turn, it's pretty basic, but it's still there's complexity in how you want to move your characters around, so they're in range of certain things, not in range of other things. You want monsters to be attacking you, so there is some like strategy involved in how it works. It's not just I'm gonna run up and hit them, and doesn't matter what else anything else is doing. No, you kind of need to kind of know what else everything else is doing. It gives you that at least that depth where you could play with kids or without kids and have a great time. It's like adults could play it. Like my wife and I would have a good time playing it, but then Ridley and I'd have a good time playing it as well.
The the other thing I'll mention is I think my overall taste might be changing a little bit because I think I went into, oh man, big massive campaigns, epic, dungeon crawls, all that stuff, which I definitely enjoy. I love all that stuff. But even like for example, like last night, my this family's over because we have in the states a Thanksgiving holiday, and so we sat around playing a game. We pulled out Reichbusters, which is a game I really enjoy. But man, that game is just a ton of pieces in that game and a lot to set up. And sometimes it's nice to just have a smaller, compact game to pull out and play like that. Something it's a little bit simpler to explain to you. But
I
Yeah,
do
it's
not
funny when you see
play.
Dungeon Crawl that is Dice Chucker having twice the pages in rules than an 18x game, which is very true.
Yes, I have found that we don't have any games that hit the table with more than 4 people or anything like a fun game to play with people. That rule book isn't more than 4 pages long. We've
Hmm.
That's just how we do it. We like, for example, we got Just One. We've got The Mind. We actually just purchased a game called Agatha Christie Murder in the Cards. It's a competitive game, but it's pretty easy to learn, and you can get it to the table and start playing it. We've tried to introduce like big games to a group like our families that come over, and we just thought, this isn't, they don't normally play these games, so it's just something so out of their wheelhouse they can't really grasp how much is going on. And by like I introduced Arkham Horror, the card game, to my nephew, and he actually really enjoyed it. But of course, there was a lot of teaching. But he is excited next time if we do get together, he'd like to play that with me. I just like to sit down and play that with you. I'm like, okay, well, we can do the second mission. We did the first mission in the game. We had to find Lita. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything. Nobody's ever played the first mission of Arkham Horror. Come on, man. But we got through that first mission in the house and stuff. So it was kind of cool. He really enjoyed it. So. We don't really bring out too many big games at parties. No, no, doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure.
I would never brought Rake Busters out. Seriously, Steve. Whoa.
Yeah, that's what they want to try something different. So they're like, "Oh, let's play Rank
Okay,
Busters."
that's different.
Okay,
All right.
let's set up for the next 20 minutes, and then we'll play after that. So
Oh
this
my
is a lot easier
gosh!
than that
Wow,
one.
Steve, that's something.
Yeah,
You gave them
the games
fun.
I took with me most on my trips to play multiple people are Robo Rally, Mysterium, Hanabi. Yeah, those are great games. The one that I know, I think Snow, you also like this one too. I take everywhere with me is Samurai Spirit, because it plays up to
Hmm.
7 people, small box, and it's not a party game, but it's really fun with the figure out the combos. I really really like that one.
Yes, yes. And I should have preferenced that. It doesn't have to necessarily be a party game to really
Hmm?
be able to bring it. Like you said, that one's a really good one for multiple players.
Definitely. Cool. Well, I think that's going to end our chat today. Thanks everyone who joined us. Hopefully it was fun. We'll have another one next week. We're going to figure out what we're going to talk about for that one. So
Oh,
a lot of
Dan,
minds in the
Mice and
mind.
Mystics. You didn't even talk about your Mice and Mystics, Steve. That's another
Yeah.
one.
Yep, Mice and Mystics. Yep, that one
That's a
is.
great dungeon crawler with kind of cutesy theme.
It does.
Eh,
I like
I
that
guess you
one.
could say Madara's kind of got a cutesy theme. Oh no, it doesn't at all. Not good.
Right. So cool. Oh yeah, yeah. Snow said I didn't have that back then. I purchased that for solo as a replacement for Ghost Stories. Right. Yeah, I played Ghost Stories, and I remember his follow up. Antoine Bow's follow up to Ghost Stories was Samurai Spirit. Yeah. So I picked it up for that because I didn't Ghost Stories either at that point, and I actually wound up really really liking it. So I might have bought it for the same reason. Dara with more clothes, maybe. Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
That's a
good.
good one. Yes. If anyone's not familiar with Madara, fantastic dungeon crawl game. Definitely recommend. But the artwork is anime style, which
Yeah.
yeah, you probably already know
Which
what's gonna be in it.
yeah, it's up to we've discussed like that kind of art and stuff like that, and a few other casts where that can deter
Right.
people as well, depending on kind of the what you're interested in. I've always said, I've never been
Right.
deterred by a theme, an artwork, anything like that. I am good to go with anything, and so I think that's one of my advantages actually, when it comes to gaming is I don't care what it is. I will play it. I don't ever get offended by anything.
Right. Yep. Cool. Okay. Well, I think it's gonna end it for this week. Let's see. On this channel, the next stream I believe is gonna be Monday, where Kim and I continue the Assassin's Creed campaign. I know Baron, you've been playing this one as well, so I'm excited to. We're going to play the whole campaign. So we just started last week. So if you missed out, you can catch up with just one video, and we're gonna keep it going.
Yep, I'm actually probably gonna. I might go to Assassin's Creed one more time and give it a shot just to see
Ooh.
what opens up a little bit more for me in the second mission. Same as your second mission. So maybe I'll try to get that recorded, and maybe I'll try to put it up about the same time you guys are doing your live stream and see what I can do
Awesome.
that way. That'll be. Other than that, I mean, I got all my Wild Ascent stuff painted up, so I'm actually going to return that. I had a comment about when you're returning that. Well, that one's right down here. I'm actually coming back to that one. Really enjoy that game. We're about 1 or 2 missions away from the boss that we have to fight, and when the boss comes in, I'm actually hoping to have Colin over to actually play against that boss. So we'll see if we can actually have that happen. I've got a lot of campaigns going on, Steve. Lots of them. This one at least only has a couple left, and I can finish it off. Of course, there is a whole other campaign inside the base box. This is just a prequel, but I don't think I'm going to do the base box one because a lot of people have already kind of either started it and showed it off, so I don't need to do that one.
Right.
But other than that, it's that time of the year where there's so much focus on family and like everything else that's going on that I never really have a plan. A lot of times if I have some extra time, I'll get a plan and start doing it. My wife's a teacher, for those that don't know, so she gets a lot of upcoming time off. So we usually spend a lot more time together playing some games on our own. So a lot of my channel actually kind of calms down a little bit over the holiday season, but picks back up in January. So what's coming out? Whatever I decide to throw on my table, that's what's coming out. That's the beauty of being able to control my own destiny.
Exactly. Excellent. Yeah, that's going to end it for this week, and be on the lookout for another chat next week. So thanks.
It was good to hang out, Steve, and thank you all for being in the chat. It's fun to hear from everybody.
Exactly. See everyone next stop. Bye bye.